Hello, White Sox fans. Welcome to another spring training update. And there's a lot to talk about. And we have some breaking news that just happened today after the game. Reynaldo Lopez was sent down. He will not break camp with the team. He was sent out to the team's alternate training site. I thought I was going to have a bold prediction to share with you because I was thinking that, boy, Reynaldo Lopez is not looking great. He's getting his work in, but the outcome is not very solid. There's a chance that he's on the bubble and won't open the season with the team, but Tony La Russa took care of that before I could say it. We're going to get into his numbers in a little bit. The other little bit of news, minor news, just a couple days old, was Nik Turley. He is a pitcher who was claimed off waivers by the White Sox from the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was a 50th round pick. Yes, 50th round pick back in 2008. He has bounced around a bit. You know, he might get a little time. I think the idea is to not expect too much. He might be the last reliever to join the team. Realistically, if you're not strong enough to hack it with the Pittsburgh Pirates, don't expect a lot from him. He'll be a bubble guy to keep an eye on for sure. The White Sox have stayed very healthy up until just recently. We talked about it a little bit on the previous video. Jimmy Cordero will be lost for the entire season due to Tommy John surgery. And he will be missed. He's a guy that pitched in 30 of 60 games last season. He threw 26 and 2/3 innings. And the results were okay. He was a good middle reliever, innings eater type. He posted a 6.08 ERA, which doesn't sound great, but when you look at his ERA predictors, he had a FIP of 3.87 and Sierra, which is my favorite, of 4.30. So again, a guy that got the work done. He was not electric. The White Sox have such a great bullpen that I think we'll be able to make those innings up pretty easily. This would have been a good opportunity for Reynaldo Lopez to take that middle reliever role, but clearly that's not how it's going to happen to start the season, at least. And the other pretty big injury news is Adam Engel will be lost for the next 2 to 4 weeks, so we'll see. He might miss very little time, but we might lose him for a couple of weeks to begin the season. No sooner do I go off on the idea of Billy Hamilton making the club than now, well, it seems like maybe there would be a need for him. The great news is we aren't desperate. Adam Engel was seen as a fourth outfielder, which I don't really even like that, because he and Adam Eaton were really going to be splitting time out in right field. Eaton, by the way, has been looking really sharp lately, and he had some great hits today batting as a lefty against left-handed pitching. So he's seeing the ball really well. He's fielding well, but we always expect that from Adam Eaton. The White Sox do still have a fourth outfielder in the man of Leury Garcia. So when it comes to roster considerations, with Adam Engel starting on the disabled list, it pretty much locks in Danny Mendick that he will break camp with the team. He was already likely, but he'll absolutely break camp now. And more good news, Yasmani Grandal has been catching more games lately. He's looking solid out there. Nick Madrigal has been getting much more playing time. He was really rolled out very slow this spring, but he's made some really great plays in the field, and he looks more confident as a fielder than I've ever seen him, and certainly his shoulder is not slowing him down, so that is really great to see. There probably is not a less important stat in spring training than wins and losses for the team, but that said, the White Sox have gone on a bit of a winning streak. I think the last time I posted a video about a week ago, they only had 1 or 2 wins. They now have a record of 7, 10, and 5. They have added one more tie since we last spoke. And by the way, other promising good news is Yoelqui Cespedes. We keep hearing news that he's hit a monster 3-run home run in a B squad game, that he's impressing over there in the secondary field. Hopefully, and fingers are definitely crossed, that we'll be able to see him maybe get a late inning at bat at the end of one of these spring training games between now and opening day. He is not a factor to break camp with the team to make his major league debut at the beginning of this season for sure, but I just want to see him in spring training. I want to see him in action. Before I mentioned that on the next spring training update, I was going to go over all the players that have been cut from the team so far, and I'm going to have to do that pretty quickly because there's a lot of them. There have been 3 rounds of cuts so far, and for the most part, people have just been reassigned to minor league camp or assigned what their minor league job will be for the year. There haven't really been too many surprises up until today, but we'll go through all of them right here. Spring training is a great opportunity to get to know some of the guys in the lower levels of the minor leagues. Maybe we've heard his name, but don't know much about him. Maybe we don't even know the name. So we're going to use this opportunity of seeing who got cut to find out a little bit more about who they are so that we're more informed in the future when we see their name pop up. The first cuts happened quite a while ago, and that includes Danny Dopico. He was an 11th round pick back in 2015. He made it up to Double A in 2019. Cade McClure, he was a 6th rounder in 2017. He made it up to Single A Advanced in 2019. Emilio Vargas was an international signee by the Diamondbacks back in 2013. He reached Double A in 2019. Jacob Lindgren was a 2nd round pick by the Yankees in 2014. And he actually did see a little bit of Major League playing time with 7 innings pitched in 2015. Bennett Sousa was a 10th rounder in 2018. He has made it up to Single A Advanced. Matt Tomshaw is a bit of a career minor leaguer so far. He was picked in the 42nd round of 2011's draft, and he has logged over 1,000 minor league innings pitched, and he's reached as high as AAA. Catcher Carlos Perez played for the Angels, Rangers, and Braves between 2015 and 2018. He's appeared in 212 major league games with an on-base plus slugging of .576, which isn't all that impressive, but his caught stealing rate is 38%, which is about 8% higher than league average, so he definitely has a good throwing arm. At the time, all these players were reassigned to minor league spring training, and we haven't yet heard where any of them will be assigned to start the season. For the next round, you'll see some more familiar names, so we're not going to get into their history so much, but we will look at what happened with them this year. And the first one on the list was a bit of a surprise to me. I thought he was a bubble player to make camp, although you could definitely tell he still needs a little bit of seasoning. He's a player I believe a lot in. He is considered one of our top 10 prospects, so of course I do believe in him, and that's Zach Birdie. We saw him pitch in the major leagues last year. He made his debut then. He did not have great success, but hey, he got his first experience. And this spring, he has not delivered very much. He's pitched to an 11.25 ERA across 4 innings pitched. In those 4 innings, he allowed 5 hits, 2 of which were home runs. He also had trouble controlling his pitches, walking 3, striking out 2. He's a guy with great stuff. He is another fireballer. He throws very fast. Clearly, though, he's still working on exactly controlling the location of those pitches. Tyler Johnson was maybe a less familiar name. He was a 5th round pick for us back in 2017. Jimmy Lambert and Jonathan Stever, both of these guys are future starters, probably for the White Sox, unless they get traded away. They were never expected to break camp with the Sox, but I still kind of thought we'd see a little bit more out of Jimmy Lambert before he was reassigned. He actually ended up throwing just 1 inning. It was a very good inning, allowing no base runners and striking out 2. Jonathan Stever did pitch 5 innings across 2 games. He allowed 4 hits, walked 2, struck out 3. Bernardo Flores Jr. is another reliever with a lot of upside, but he didn't show it this spring, pitching to a 7.71 ERA across just 2 1/3 innings. But in that 2 1/3 innings, he walked 4, which is really what led to his departure. Blake Rutherford, a number of our top 10 prospects, only went 1 for 10 on the spring with just 1 strikeout. Gavin Sheets did a tiny bit better with just a 125 batting average, 451 on base plus slugging. He logged just 2 hits, walked 3 times, struck out 6. Sebi Zavala, as we mentioned in our previous video, was really our only top catching prospect that was not considered a viable backup for this season, especially considering how much great competition there already is ahead of him. All of these players, Zavala, Sheets, Rutherford, Flores, Stever, Lambert, Johnson, and Birdie, were assigned to AAA, so that's going to be a fun minor league team to watch. A couple more of our top prospects were sent to Double-A, and that was Mike Rodolfo, who only logged a 154 batting average, 466 on base plus slugging. He collected 2 hits and 3 walks to go along with 7 strikeouts. And Jake Berger really turned his slow spring around to end up batting .308 with a 692 on base plus slugging. He picked up 4 hits, one of which was a double. He didn't walk at all and struck out 7 times, which there you see some of that minor league seasoning that he needs, which he was not able to get for the last 2 years due to some crippling injuries. So really for Jake, all we're hoping for is a fully healthy season. A few others were reassigned to minicamp, and that was Felix Paulino, who was a non-roster invite, who was previously with the Phillies. Another non-roster invite was Mike Wright. He had previously pitched for the Orioles and Mariners, putting up an ERA of 6 even across 258 innings pitched. A player that I was really disappointed to see was reassigned was Cody Medeiros. He was a first-round pick in 2014, 12th overall selection, and in this spring, over 4 1/3 innings pitched, he didn't allow any runs, but he did walk more than he struck out, 3 walks to 2 strikeouts. A Hawaiian native, Medeiros was traded to the White Sox from the Milwaukee Brewers for Joakim Soria back in 2018. He pitched in Double-A in 2019. Headlining the list of the 3rd round of cuts, which were just announced today, is obviously Reynaldo Lopez. We're going to dive into his stats in a little bit. Also, Luis Gonzalez, who was considered a possible person that could sneak in to fill in for the injured Adam Engel. Clearly that's not going to happen now. On the spring, he batted .154 with just a .339 on base plus slugging. He walked once and struck out 8 times. Some more quality depth pieces that was reassigned to the minor league camp today was Cordero. He has thrown 106 innings between 2016 and 2019 with the Padres and Marlins. The White Sox picked him up on waivers in December of 2019. Alex McRae, who's a name you might be familiar with, he did throw 3 innings for the White Sox in the major leagues last year. He played for Pittsburgh in 2018 and 2019 as well. And Illinois native Connor Sadzek. He is from Crystal Lake, Illinois. He played for the Rangers in 2018 and the Mariners in 2019. And finally, Marco Hernandez. He was a non-roster invite. He's a middle infielder who appeared in 122 games for the Red Sox across the seasons of 2016, 2017, and 2019. At this point, the Sox have 36 players left in camp, meaning that there will be 10 more cuts to come. Of those 36, 16 are pitchers, 4 are catchers, and 16 are position players. To take a look at the upcoming schedule, we'll just go ahead and take a look at the rest of spring training. On Tuesday, Sox will play the Cubs on MLB Network. On Wednesday, they'll be on regular TV, NBC Sports Chicago, against the Oakland A's. On Thursday, they'll be playing the Reds on MLB.com. Friday, they'll face the Brewers on MLB Network. Saturday, Rockies, MLB Network. Sunday, Diamondbacks on NBC Sports Chicago. They actually have an off day on Monday. Tuesday, they'll play their final spring training game against the Rockies. No broadcast is announced yet, but most likely they'll end up on MLB Network. Then an off day on Wednesday before kicking off a 7-game road trip to start the Major League season. On Thursday, the road trip against the Angels and Mariners. Looking at their early schedule, they only have 3 days off in April, and that is the 9th, the 22nd, and the 26th. So a lot of times to begin a season, a club might try to get by with just 4 starters and go on kind of a shorter schedule if there's a bit more off days built in. White Sox don't have that luxury, so we will be relying on a 5th starter. It would have been nice if Reynaldo Lopez had a nicer spring to provide some additional depth on the Major League squad to back up Carlos Rodon, who, as we all know, is always an injury risk. Rodon's having a great spring so far. We don't have that safety net of Reynaldo Lopez anymore, so we will really be depending on Carlos Rodon to start the season. To look at the biggest highlight of the last week, I think we have to take a look back at Adam Engel, who in back-to-back games had a homer and a triple. He was really swinging the bat so well before he went down with his injury. As we know, he's an important part of the depth of this team. He brings such an elite level of speed and defense. Really, we hope that he can join us as soon as possible. And there is that luxury, the fact that he is just a platoon partner with Adam Eaton right now. When he is fully healthy, we can definitely build in easily some planned days off for him to try to make sure that he is fully recovered and he's not going to re-injure himself. Taking a look at everyone's favorite position battle of the spring, we are checking in with the catchers. The updated stats for Zach Collins has him going 10 for 30 with a .911 on base plus slugging. He's hit a double and a home run, 2 runs scored, 2 RBIs. He's walked 6 times and struck out just 3 times. Jonathan Lucroy has gone 5 for 15 with an eerily similar .900 on base plus slugging with 1 double. He's walked 5 times without striking out once. Yermin Mercedes is earning the nickname the Yerminator with a 12 for 33 effort, an on base plus slugging of .854 with 3 doubles, 3 runs scored, 8 RBIs. 2 walks and 9 strikeouts. He is definitely striking out a lot more often. I don't know if it's because he's been facing a higher caliber of pitcher or if he's pushing a little hard to try to force the White Sox hands to keep him on the team. But even with those 9 strikeouts, he's putting up great numbers overall. And of course, his defense has really been impressing me. I thought it'd be fun to start tracking these 3 bullpen arms that, in my opinion, could become the 3-headed monster that ends games very early for the White Sox. If we're in the lead by the 7th, the game is over. Why? Well, because we've got the following guys. Certainly start out with our closer, Hendricks. He's only thrown 3 innings so far, but has an ERA of 3. He has walked none, struck out 4. But maybe the most impressive stat in this very small sample size is a batting average allowed number of just 100. Michael Kopech has hit at least 99 on the radar gun several times this spring. He has pitched to a 1.69 ERA across 5 1/3 innings. He has hit a batter, walked 2, struck out 7, and opponents are hitting .211 against him. And Garrett Crochet has pitched to an ERA of 1.5 across 6 innings, walking 2, striking out 6, and allowing a 190 batting average against. Finally, let's take a look at our starting pitchers, and we'll take a first and last look at Reynaldo Lopez's numbers on the spring. Going in order of our rotation, Lucas Giolito has been really stellar this spring with a 1.56 ERA across 17 1/3 innings. He's walked 7 but struck out 21 with a microscopic 1.38 batting average against. Dallas Keuchel, well, It's ugly, but he's only pitched 2 1/3 innings. That first appearance did not go well for him when it comes to results. And when it comes to a guy like Dallas Keuchel, I'm not going to allow 2 bad innings to throttle my expectations for him. Lance Lynn has pitched to a 2.31 ERA across 11 2/3 innings. He's hit a batter, walked 9, struck out 17, and allowed a 2.09 batting average against. Dylan Cease has been effective but inefficient across 6 2/3 innings. He is not allowed to run, but has hit 2 batters, walked 3, struck out 5 with a 1.82 batting average against. Unfortunately, so far, this just is reminiscent of last season. He has unbelievable, great stuff, but he hasn't been able to control it very well. I still do believe he'll take the next step this year, but right now we're not seeing it in those results. When you look at how wild he's been across 6 2/3 innings. Carlos Rodon has been nothing short of exceptional across his 9 innings pitched. Not only has he not allowed a run, but he hasn't walked anybody either. He has struck out 8 and allowed just a 1.33 batting average against. If we can keep him healthy, oh boy, I would love to see him finally reach his potential. And here is why Reynaldo Lopez was reassigned to the minor leagues. He has pitched to an ERA of 9, and that's not a small sample size. That is 11 runs allowed and 11 innings. He has hit a batter, walked 4, struck out 6, with a 3.48 batting average allowed against him. Reynaldo Lopez at times has shown that he has great stuff. My hopes were really high. I didn't believe that he would be a strong starter for us in the rotation this year, but I really wanted him to be, and still do want him to develop into being a really good multi-inning middle reliever for us. Right now, he's getting the work in, which is great, but he's not fooling anybody. He hasn't had any easy innings. I don't think he's had any clean innings. He's allowed runs really consistently. So things have opened up in a weird way with Lopez being sent down, with the White Sox losing Jimmy Cordero to injury for the entire season. I'm going to be back very soon trying to predict what those final cuts will be and what our opening day roster will look like. And of course, just because an opening day roster is set, it takes a lot more than 26 players to get through a full major league season. So players will bounce around. We'll definitely be seeing Zach Birdie up with us again. I hope we see Medeiros at some point. And of course, Engel might only be on the injured list for just a couple of games to begin the season. So even our offensive side, position players will be switching around pretty quickly as well to start the season. But it is always fun just to see what your opening day roster is going to look like. So I know you, the viewer, are smart, dedicated Sox fans. I know this from the comments that you guys list on every single video I've posted, and I always appreciate those. So I'm going to throw the question to you. How do we replace Jimmy Cordero's innings pitched this season? Leave your answers in the comments below, and until I see you next time, which will be very soon, play ball and go Sox.